When Circle of Tyrants, when you guys disbanded the following year, were you disappointed or you just accepted it that it is what it is?
Wait. Say that again? Oh, when we disbanded, I just accepted it? No. I mean, I was upset about it. Like, Necro holds a fucking grudge to this day about it because it was something dope. It was something that we could have been a crazy ass, diverse, different type of ethnicity Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? With a newer, obscure vibe where everybody had their own personalities, kind of like their own superheroes. They were all our own superheroes with our own little flavors. It was a dope thing. I was annoyed about it. Everybody, I don't know if the other members were annoyed about it because they're like, oh, fuck it. Like sometimes resentment when you break up, it's like, whatever, I'll do my thing. And you just, whatever. Like, and maybe they released what they feel to this day is successful to them. And maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe the fans still clamor for us to get back together and do a Circle of Tyrants too.
I think
Never
that
gonna happen.
fans really do, though. I think fans really do.
Yeah, but everybody wants maybe the original Megadeth to be back together. You know what I mean? But it's not gonna happen. Dave Mustaine ain't fucking with them. Or
fans just want what they
Axl
want, right?
Rose.
They don't care about all the politics behind the scenes and all the bullshit and everything. But
that's why you try not to. But this is why you try not to drag them into it. Don't drag the fans into it. Just whatever. I just say salute. You like Circle of Tyrants? Salute. Play it again. Put it in, put it on your playlist. Play it. That's a time where times change. Just listen to that shit. Rock it. Dope. Cool. You like that? You like my verse on that? Cool. Doesn't matter. You think Guns N' Roses fans care if Slash? I mean, they care. Slash and Axl Rose don't get along and they'll never make another. Yeah, they're like, why don't you get back together? It's cool when they do. You see it in like wrestling all the time, right? The Shield breaks up. Roman Reigns and I'll just go. That's another thing I know about wrestling. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, whatever, they break up, or whatever it would be. The Rockers, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty break up, and it's a big fucking storyline. It's crazy. Why can't you get along with your partner? But it simulates real life and how shit is with siblings, bands, this and that. One of the things that blew me away was the James Brown movie that his best friend and like they grew up together and his best friend, they just couldn't get along and then they weren't friends anymore at the end. It was like crazy to me. But the fans just want the dope music. They want that nostalgia, that time when it was the way it was. And that comes from a lot of people love Metallica's first album and they'll say it's the best of the early Metallica, right? Let's just say. Or the first, we'll keep it hip hop, right? So the first Nas album, Illmatic, right? Nas might say his newest album is his best album, right? Because it's what he's doing now and it's what he feels now. But a fan's always going to say, nah, Illmatic's the best. But I'm going to give the age old, Mr. Hyde right now is going to bring you the reason for that. It might not be because it might or might not be because the first album was better than the newest album. It may or may not be true. The reason is because that artist was so dope and you heard them for the first time. And what do they say about first impressions? They last forever, right? So when you get the first impression of someone, when you hear something that you've never heard before and they kicked it to you in that way, when you hear Illmatic for the first time, when you're fucking 16, I don't know how old I was. I was probably younger. And I hear it for the first time. And he spit New York State of Mind hits, right? And it's like straight out the fucking Dungeons of Rap. You know what I mean? And that beat comes on and he fucking kills it on some New York shit. And you're like, I never heard no shit like this before in my life. That is going to stay with you forever.
Right. And then, I forgot who said it, but they said that, like, I can't replicate that time in your life for you. Right. A lot of times it's like where I was at in my life and these memories that are associated with it. And then the nostalgia factor and everything. It's like you see almost like those memories in a certain like color coded, like where it's like a dreamy state and everything. You know what I mean? Those feelings of nostalgia that is associated with something. It gives you a different kind of feeling. So
and
like,
guess what?
Nas will be like, my newest album is better lyrically and I'm like advanced in my skills, but people are
That
going to
may be
say
true.
Illmatic.
That's
Yeah.
that's why I said that might be true. He's probably progressed. Not probably. He's progressed as a lyricist. As Mr. Hyde, I'm going to tell you right now. I progressed as a lyricist. I learned shit. Like you said, I learned. You learn your craft. You don't get better if you don't. Like if you stop wanting to compete with yourself and make. That's where you get lazy and you fall back and you fall off.
Right.
Listen, as you can see, I'm not closed-minded. So it's and I don't have a crazy fucking ego. A lot of these guys, the guys we're talking about, they and as warranted, man. Like they put out classic shit. They're fucking. I expect the lead singer of Metallica, James Hetfield, to have a big ego. I kind of expect it because he's put out so much shit, and the world is on his nuts. So like I don't know. I just don't. It is what it is. I mean, I have my own ego. Like I said, I know I'm good, but it's just like the Mount Rushmore shit. It's like if I got fans, I'm doing all right. I also don't. Maybe Necro will tell me that I don't have the same ambition.
Right. Right.
I have a different type of ambition. My ambition is to my art and for me more. Like it's for me. I started out putting out music that I want I want to listen to. Like there was nobody who put out only maybe Necro. Like I related to that. When I heard him, I'm like, oh, there's another sick bastard like me rapping like exploitational shit. When I first heard Necro, it was in like '96 on a radio show. He went up to his. Are we recording now?
Yeah. It's recording.
Okay, so he went up to a radio show, the Martin Moore Mayhem Show, and he went up. This should be in the interview. This is a good story. He went up to the radio show with his own beats and his own rhymes and his own, like everything. Usually these DJs would make you rhyme on whatever the hot beat at the time was, right? So like, it'd be some primo beat they put on for you and you'd spit your rhymes at the end of the interview. And he was like, nah. Just I make my own beats. I'm Necro. I rhyme on my own beats. I don't rhyme on nobody else's beats. I wrote my shit on my beat. I'm rhyming to my beat. And I already, as a listener, was like, oh, this guy, like, now I'm listening. He's got me interested. I want to hear what he's doing. Then I found out before he did it that he was the producer for the first Nonfiction single. Like he produced Five Boroughs, so, like the single that was out, the 12-inch. So I'm like, I only knew that he was a producer at the time. I knew from going to Fat Beats and seeing the names and the credits on the singles that he produced the record. So I knew the name from that. I didn't know he rapped. And then he came up and he spit exploitational. His first line was 9666, visions flow out my skull scarier. I got confined areas for dish rags with malaria. He said some crazy shit. Like so I was like, yo, this dude is rapping similar to the exploitational crazy, and at the time my rhymes were like maybe abortionist, contortionist, twisting abdomens, hooks pierce your skin, sin, grappling. So I was rapping crazy shit too around that time. And I'm like, wow, somebody who, and then I found out he was a white rapper who produced that record, and so I'm like, I got to meet this guy and see where the fuck his head is at, see if maybe we could vibe. So that's the story of that. So Necro, when me hear, and that's the nostalgia. There will be nothing better to me from Necro than that. When I heard it for the first time, and I was blown away, because I'm telling you, I like shit, but shit didn't speak to me and blow me away. Someone blowing me away lyrically and mentally and the vibe of it, and it felt authentic. I'm a good judge of authenticity, especially when it comes to aggressive shit, and so it spoke to me. So like that nostalgia of that and that time, you can't duplicate it. Like you said, you can't duplicate that time. So I can't be Nas for you, and I can't duplicate what Nas did for me. But I can do what I feel like. When it's authentic, you can do what you do, and it'll speak to someone, and someone will have that same nostalgia about your first record if it was a classic record to them. And then it's going to be hard for you to duplicate that feeling for them from you. That's all. Even if I may have progressed leaps and bounds as a lyricist and as an artist and as an executive producer of my own shit, because since the Born of the Naked Dead album, I've actually, maybe a lot of people don't know, I've funded and executive produced every record since then, and I have a pretty big catalog.